Testing. All right, we should be live. We are still sitting on that trend line. Still sitting on the 50-day. We're actually a little bit below the 50-day. You guys remember way back when I was doing the Ichimoku analysis on ES a lot? I was telling you guys that my 3-hour strategy that I used to use on Bitcoin, it works very well on ES. When it starts to lose that, it has the bearish cross, and then you have the bearish Kumo twist. It's typically a very strong indicator that you're kind of topping out and losing momentum on the overall market. And we have a pretty red cloud forming, and we have a very bearish Ichi. Like the entire system is very bearish right now. Yeah, 15-minute is extremely bearish. You gotta watch that anchored VWAP from yesterday. You can even pull it back to Friday as well. Where would that be? Let's see. Friday's a little high. I'd probably just take it from today, the main sell-off point. But once that VWAP starts to get recovered and starts to ascend, then we can say that we're actually bottoming out. But we have not traded above that VWAP. Well, pretty much one candle tried to trade above it, then it nuked. So the bears are in complete control right now. Little bounce trying to come in on SPY. You're trying to hold that that low a day. Pretty nice level coming in at like 422. IWM is the only index that went for a gap fill. You had a big block trade come in on Dow Jones this morning, but it didn't actually fill the gap. I mean, it technically did, but that's not really a gap fill. It's just a block trade. What's going on, Chad? He said, is Q's bottoming or is it safe to stay short? You're holding 348s for Friday based on the Sunday analysis. Let me see. I mean, it's holding a support for sure. It's not nearly as bullish, or I wouldn't say bullish, but it's not nearly as strong of a support as ES is holding. Like SPY and ES are on their 50-day, they're on VWAP. I think there's some pivots down here as well. Q's is kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's not really a major support here. You also have a gap fill below you down to like 348, which is the exact level that you're holding. And that's most likely where we're going. You did fill this local gap, so the only gap below you is that one there, and then some lower ones as well, but the local one is 348. And that is the major support, around kind of 345 to 348. Not a whole lot of support here. Maybe some like Fibonacci support if we take like the local level. No, not even Fib. So Fib support would go down to like 347. Yeah, it's kind of bouncing in the middle of nowhere. You might have some like shorter term moving average support, maybe like a 21 or something. Let's see. No, we lost the 21. So yeah, not looking too good, honestly. Most likely could go down some more. I was telling the guys in Discord that the dirtiest thing they could do to people right now is they could bounce this tomorrow. And if they bounce it tomorrow, the odds of it breaking an all-time high are extremely high. Because when it tests the 50 and then it bounces, it will almost always make an all-time high within a week or two. So if they wanted to trick people, they could bounce it tomorrow, maybe to like 4,300 or below, and then just absolutely punish them for the rest of the week. That would be brutal. Or they could just have it not bounce off the 50 here, then just nuke it tomorrow. That wouldn't be as bad, but that would still be pretty brutal. But it all depends on how we close. If it closes above the 50 and you're kind of bouncing off of it, then it doesn't look too bad. But the bottom is not in until VWAP starts to ascend. You have to watch that local VWAP, and the local VWAP is getting destroyed. If you guys watch my weekly analysis on Sunday, pretty much everything we talked about is coming true. I talked about VIX bottoming on that 43 RSI, and VIX is seeing a 33% spike today. It's up 31% now. If you look at the VWAP, sorry, not VWAP, RSI, if you look at that level, it's been a level for the past like 7 years. It typically bottoms around 43 to 40, and we have a very, very strong bounce coming off of that level. So that's playing out beautifully. We have Dixie still looking a little strong today, hasn't bounced too much. And then we have the yields getting slapped. So you would expect the yields getting slapped here to help tech. So with the yields getting murdered and tech still doing bad, that's a pretty bad sign. And then we have all the sector analysis that we looked at last week, which I'll probably keep doing that, depending on what kind of analysis we're doing on the videos. But all that support that I was showing on the weekly watch list, I told you guys that we had to kind of wait until Monday or Tuesday to see how we reacted to these trend lines, because it was basically sitting right on the trend line for every single one of these sectors. And now we're breaking nearly every single one. We can go from top to bottom here, and they're all looking pretty bad. SMH had a nasty pullback down to support, but you're bouncing a little bit. Energy is getting slapped. Gold is getting slapped. Financials broke support. Tech broke trend. Communication, right? Yeah, communication broke trend. Real estate broke trend. Utilities, I talked about this on the weekly watch, as I said that this most likely was a fake out, and you could pull back and kind of create this little channel here. So that happened, fake out, nuke. Let's see. We talked about materials breaking the accumulation, heading lower. That's happening as well. Infrastructure following materials, which it typically does. That's going lower as well. So if you don't see a reclaim of that range low, it's going to go for another leg down. We have the healthcare sector breaking trend. The only thing that looks good out of all the sectors is consumer staples, which is like the big boomer names, Pepsi, Coke, Procter & Gamble, stuff like that, right? Costco. So that's doing pretty bad today, but nowhere near as bad as the other indexes, which is kind of showing you that money is going back into value from the growth sector. And I was telling the guys in Discord earlier, we talked about this last week. The market is really hard to trade right now because the sector rotations that typically take a very long time, at least a quarter, mostly 2 quarters or more, we're seeing sector rotations happening in weeks. We got a rotation out of small caps into growth. Growth started skyrocketing, and now we're seeing growth rotate back into value. So these rotations typically do not happen like this back to back very, very quickly. And it's happening on a weekly basis now, pretty much. Consumer discretionary, that heavily weighted in some big growth names, that is also getting wrecked. You have FANG getting a massive pullback as well, almost down 2%. The market is not looking good right now. Obviously, if you're like a longer term guy, you could buy the dip and buy the blood, but very risky. Even Bitcoin down almost 4%, Ethereum down 4%, continuing to bleed. As we talked about, until you reclaim that 50-day moving average, it's just going to keep bleeding. Next level is like 28,000, then you got 25,000. And then you're probably going to see 20,000, to be honest. Ethereum very likely could go back down to 13 to 12. Is the S&P E-mini futures chart used to predict SPY movement? The S&P E-mini is SPY pretty much. It's a more liquid version of SPY. SPY is an exchange traded fund. It's an ETF. ES is the futures. ES used to be the most liquid trading instrument in the world. I think it still is. Yeah, like Mucky said, you just have to wait and see kind of how price reacts to the 50-day. What's going on, Moneybag? It's also on this trend line, too. This trend line's pretty clean. So if it can hold this trend line, it doesn't look too bad. What were those calls coming in? Let's take a look. Ton of SPY calls today. I was talking about this in Discord. My scanners, they are not filtered to find ETFs. They're not filtered to just find ETFs. But look at my scanner. It's almost all the big indexes. SPY, IWM, Qs. Look at this. Almost every single one is an index. And then we have some Tesla and then a little bit of other smaller names, but mostly indexes. And if I filter this by premium, most of the big boy calls that came in today, the unusual ones, were SPY. SPY 424s for Wednesday. SPY, once again, 424s for Wednesday. We got a bunch of Tesla calls, 627 and 637 for the 23rd. What is that, Friday? Yeah, Friday. More 424s for Wednesday on SPY. We have some 354s for Qs. Some RCL stuff coming in, which is Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. I don't understand why they're buying that. It's kind of very risky, especially with the COVID news. Sector, the retail sector, the travel sector, getting absolutely slammed today. If you look at this this scanner here, this is the Lotto scanner, so it finds things that are below $1. The smaller plays that are coming in, and it's almost all travel sector. It's travel, retail. Like, look at this. CCL, travel. You have retail, more cruise lines. XOP, what is that? XOP. That sounds familiar. Is that oil? Yeah, oil. So that's travel related as well. GDX is gold. Delta Airlines, that's travel. We had some XLF puts, that's financial. Delta Airlines again, travel. American Airlines, that's travel. So all these big lottos that came in today, all the way from 170K premium up to 500K premium, all travel related, and they're all puts. When I was looking at this earlier, it was an 18 to 1 put to call ratio, which is ridiculously high. It's gotten a lot better. It's only 9 to 1 now, but still pretty bad. People are really putting their money on this COVID fear porn continuing. And I would say those are lottos. They're like very, very low delta. So most likely all those puts coming in are just hedges. They're not people like putting a massive amount of money on those bearish positions. They're just looking to protect themselves from a pullback. If they were looking to take big positions, they would not be taking lottos. Those are most likely hedges. So they're still overall bullish, but they're preparing for the worst. That tweet that I posted about the Israel data is getting censored now.
Censored? They blocked it?
Yeah, they blocked that Israel tweet.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody
What did
commented.
you say?
They're not blocking my tweet. They're blocking the tweet that I'm quoting.
Oh.
Yeah, they're censoring. I mean, my tweet is censored basically from that tweet being censored because it's like a retweet. It was the one that I was talking about, how there's a bunch of different information going around. You can't really tell the difference between real information and fake information. So, like, being a trader is really difficult because you don't know what the fuck to believe. And I was saying if Israel is right about that info going around about the Pfizer vaccine being basically useless against Delta, that's going to be fucking really bad for the market. And as we're seeing right now, that's what's happening. Twitter hates Israel. Yeah, they do censor a lot of shit coming out of Israel.
It's so fucked up how, like, if you post something bad that's, like, literally not confirmed or whatever, they let it go. But if you post something good about the vaccine that's not proven, they let it go.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They're only filtering one side. And that's the problem people have with social media being a monitor like that, is they're being extremely biased. Like if you're going to censor, you have to censor across the board. You can't just pick and choose.
The problem is we can't do shit about it. It's their platform.
Oh yeah, you're fucked. Yep.
They're
No.
probably to go eat a dick.
They're gonna get fucked eventually. It's just a matter of time.
How would they get fucked though? Don't you like? Isn't that in the?
They have an immunity from the government because they're like trying to have their cake and eat it too. They have an immunity, but they're going against the guidelines that make that immunity possible. Like the immunity that they're given, they have to follow certain rules to keep that immunity. They're breaking those rules, but they're still keeping the immunity. So like people like Trump and like other people that have been censored, they're trying to sue Twitter and other like Facebook because they're breaking their rules of their immunity. So until those lawsuits gain traction, they're going to be fine, but eventually they're going to get fucked one way or the other. And that will be a red candle if you've ever seen one. If they lose their immunity, Twitter will fucking go to zero. That's definitely a day you want to be in puts. Facebook, it won't hurt so much because Facebook is more of a conglomerate. People think of Facebook just as Facebook. They've got a lot of business besides their social media.
Yeah.
Twitter just has Twitter. They don't really have much to fall back on.
Zuck's probably underneath fucking Biden's desk right now on his knees. Discord just heard me say that too, and they're gonna start sending me ads.
Yeah, you got an agent.
Oh, what the fuck? Look
You're
at
gonna get ads for knee pads.
Yeah.
Why is Pin ripping?
Pinterest does well with the COVID fear porn. Pinterest was one of those companies that was pumping back when the stay-at-home shit was happening.
I thought it was tech like Twitter and the rest.
It kind of is, yeah, but it's they do well when COVID spikes for some reason. People are at home. Look, Pinterest has gotten crazy. My girlfriend was showing me because we just bought that house, so she was showing me like all this like Pinterest, all the shit that she has on her Pinterest for like furniture and stuff and whatnot, right? And before it was just like pictures. You couldn't really like do anything. It was just kind of like looking at cool themes and stuff. They're kind of like Instagram now, where people can tag like everything in the picture as an item. So like you can buy shit off Pinterest. Like it's like if they have a picture of a desk setup, they can tag all the monitors and the keyboard and the mouse and the desk, and it will say like how much it is, and you can click on it and you can go buy stuff. Like that's a huge improvement. That's massively bullish for Pinterest long term. It's not just like a forum where you look at pictures. It's an actual like shop thing now.
Yeah, speaking of shop, fucking Shopify's having a day.
Oh, that's another one that I need to put on the watch list. These are all the COVID companies. The COVID companies are coming back, guys. If you notice, I cleaned up my watch list, and it's mostly just COVID companies. DoorDash, Zoom, Fiverr, 3M, Chegg, Pinterest, Shopify. These are all companies that do very, very well when COVID is spiking.
B-Doc.
Yeah,
Etsy.
TDoc, yep.
Look at Etsy right now.
Did I put Fiverr in there? Yeah, Fiverr's on there. Yeah, TDoc is one to watch for sure. Yeah, Etsy does well.
I'm surprised Zoom hasn't pumped. Like the doji at the bottom or the hammer, like if it prints a hammer, it doesn't look bad. But
Yeah.
I was expecting, because dude, remember fucking Zoom was like the leader of COVID stocks, dude.
I think it's just because they're so fucking extended, like off of where they were before COVID.
That thing fucking aped.
Yeah.
Falsely. Oh, look at Twillo. Twillo too. What the?
DoorDash looks really good. Bouncing off support, big engulfing candle.
I just upped my position, remember last week, for 4 to 7%.
Yeah, it's nice.
Cut fucking Uber. Is Uber going up?
It might. Let's see. No, it gapped down, bouncing a little bit. Uber has a mask mandate across the board. I was taking Uber when we went out to the bar this weekend, and you have to hit, like, every one of my passengers has a mask. We're wearing our masks. Like, you have to accept that before they let you call for the Uber.
Dude, I was coming back from Vegas and I got an Uber, and it was one of those drivers that was like super fucking talkative.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, is it okay if I vape? And he was like, yeah, bro, go ahead, I smoke. So I started vaping. He's like, hey, can you put your mask on like between hits? Like, drop me off. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
That's funny.
Fucking boner.
He doesn't mind you blowing the vape out, but he wants you to put your mask on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow, Piton's having a day. Oh, I forgot COVID.
That's actually interesting to think about. You think if somebody has COVID and they're vaping, that the fucking virus can stick to the vape cloud, like when they're blowing it out?
Don't get them started on that.
Oh, yeah, you're
All
done.
you need to do is hear that.
You're done.
Discord's listening. All they need to do is hear that. We're fucked.
Yeah. Dude, imagine if they said fucking COVID stuck to vape smoke. You'd
God,
be
dude,
done.
I would vape more on purpose.
Because that's how it travels. It travels in the particles of like people coughing and fucking breathing and stuff. SPY is trying so hard not to lose this level. You lose this level on SPY, then you're most likely going to close below the 50-day, which is very bad. I was saying this in Discord earlier. SPY doesn't like to consolidate on the 50-day. It either bounces immediately or it blows right through it. There's typically no consolidation. So if it loses this level, it's very likely going to keep going down. Q's is actually still in the exact same range that it created in the first hour of the day. You're holding the low of the range perfectly. The POC still remains the same. You're failing VWAP, so it's definitely slightly bearish. If it can get above like 354, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, Frosty, it's a regular moving average, not a EMA. IWM was actually one of the strongest today. It almost filled the entire gap, and then it got nuked. This is a very bad chart on IWM. Breaking this entire uptrend here. You're coming up on the 200-day EMA, though. Anywhere from like 207 to 208. You could bounce off the 200. One thing I wanted to note on Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin here? You're losing the 50 week. This is very bad. The week just started, though, so we have plenty of time to recover. But you are losing the 50 week. It has not lost this or even tested it since you created the bottom way back in May. Definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Not a single sector is green today. I wanted to look at something earlier and I forgot. I wanted to look at VNQ holdings. Here we go. Holdings, here we go. American Tower Corporation, okay. It's an ETF with the number one holding being another ETF, Jesus. AMT and PLD. PLD doesn't look too bad. AMT, let's see. That doesn't look too bad either. CCI and Equinox, let's see. Crown Castle, that looks good. Yeah, these real estate charts don't look too bad. So keep an eye on VNQ, that could recover a little bit. I wanted to look at ARK. I think I looked at that on Friday, John. Let's see how they're doing. Had a gap down, but it's recovering a little bit. What I like about ARK is if you look at the weekly, this is putting in the right shoulder of the head and shoulders, the inverse head and shoulders. So you have like the left shoulder, nuke down, put in the head, and now this could be the right shoulder forming. This could be a very big bottom here. If it doesn't go below like 110, I actually like this a lot. He said, do gaps always get filled? It depends on what you're looking at. Some stocks always fill their gaps. Some stocks don't care about gaps. So you have to do analysis on whatever it is you're looking at. For example, like ES, there's not a single unfilled gap in 23-year history of ES, except for the one at 4,000, the Good Friday gap. Things like Netflix, they love filling their gaps. So almost every single gap on Netflix is filled, which you just saw. We targeted 550 when I was doing the analysis on Netflix. I told you guys way back when it was breaking like 500, you would just target 550. It always fills its gap. So that gap has been filled. Now you have a new gap below you around like 518 to 512. So that's where you're targeting basically off this move down. But then you have things like Neo, for example. It doesn't really fill all of its gaps. You got a bunch of gaps that are that are open, right? So you gotta do analysis on whatever you're looking at. Some things like to fill, some things don't. Typically, a rule of thumb is if it's a very liquid trading instrument, it will fill most of its gaps. So like if it's like Apple, Microsoft, Netflix, like something that's very heavily traded, the indexes, they will typically fill their gaps. If they're not that widely traded, or they're kind of like meme stocks or like penny stocks, whatever, those gaps don't typically get filled. Hey, Jake, you said, can you look at NEO and how it may react to this COVID scare? NEO doesn't really relate to COVID, so it doesn't really have much of a correlation. I don't like it below that pivot at 44.50. So as long as you're below that, it's not looking too good. You are bouncing off the cloud, you're bouncing off the 50-day, so you do have a lot of support down here, but you need to get back above like 45 for that to look pretty good. Tesla was getting a lot of calls today, which I'll show you here in a second. And what did I tell you guys on the analysis? I told you if you failed 689, you look for 666, then you look for 628. Both those targets have been hit. So now we're holding 628. It's damn near the low of the day. You hold on to that level, you go back to 666. So it looks okay for now. You break 628, it's going to get pretty bloody. Most likely go down to 600, maybe even below 600. And if Tesla nukes, NEO nukes, right? The calls, where is it? We had a bunch of 627.50s for the 23rd. I think that's Friday. We had 637.50s for Friday. 632.50s for Friday. 720s for August 6th. We got a lot of calls coming in on Tesla today. Can you repeat that thing about gaps? Yeah, so if you look back, and I could be mistaken, but I've double checked this and I could not find a single one. But you guys can double check this for me and tell me if I'm wrong. But I've looked back on the entire history of ES. I can't find a single gap that has not been filled. Except for the one that we created on Good Friday at 4,000. There is not a single gap on this chart that has not been filled. In 23-year history. Dating back to 1997. There is only one, and it's this one right here. This is the Good Friday gap when we had the Easter Friday. So one thing about this gap is it's a time gap. It's not a price gap, so it's a little different. And it was almost filled. You damn near filled it on this pullback here, but you did not fill it. Like if you take this level here, oops, it is not filled. As picky as that is, it is not filled. And you can only see it. This is another weird thing about this gap. You can't see it on lower time frames because it is a time gap, like I said. You can only see it on like the daily. But by definition, it is still a gap. What I mean by it's a time gap, it's a ES almost runs 24/7, nearly 24/7. It only has Saturday off and half of Sunday. And then the ending of Friday. So like the weekend pretty much. And then most of the gaps on ES will be the Sunday to Monday gaps, right? Or the Sunday opening is what I mean. So like when it closes on Friday, opens on Sunday, those are typically the gaps. The gap that it has at 4,000 is a gap from a holiday. That's a gap from Good Friday, which is it's a holiday because of Sunday being Easter, right? So most gaps are actually price gaps. That would be a holiday gap. Is there a Bitcoin gap at 24K? I actually haven't looked at Bitcoin gaps in a very long time. What's the ticker for Bitcoin futures? It's CME something.
BTC1 exclamation mark, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we have a gap above us at like 49, and Bitcoin it does like to fill its gaps as well. Yeah, we have a gap down here. That's a big fucking gap too. 23.6. That could be where we're headed. That's a really big gap. But there's a lot of gaps below you on Bitcoin, so it's not a very good narrative, but that gap is huge. 26, that's a $3,000 gap. That's one of the biggest gaps I've seen. So yeah, that's probably where we're headed, down towards that like 23 area. That was a Christmas gap? Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing with ES. You said, can you check if Airbnb buy the dip occurred? I can take a look. I think you're way too bearish. No, yeah, Airbnb, you would not get a buy the dip on something like this. It's not uptrending. Buy the dips happen on uptrends. This thing is getting butchered. This is not a good chart. Airbnb looks like it wants to go lower. Probably make an all-time low or something. You could put in like a bulldog here if it bounces here or consolidates. This could be a bulldog. But it can't lose that level. What just came in? Novax came in. 215 calls for Friday. 200K in premiums. A pretty good size. 46 delta too. Those aren't too bad actually. Not a bad chart. KRE Lotto's coming in. And that's it.
Facebook sponsor.
Yeah, SPY's got a little bounce here. Oh yeah, the Ichimoku cloud in the background, that is standard. Standard settings are the best settings.
You remember when I was trying to get rid of that video card? You guys were like putting it on Facebook.
Yep.
It was sold within the hour.
Oh yeah, easily. You could sell anything. You could sell your body on Facebook in less than 15 minutes.
As soon as I put it up, I got like 6, 7 messages. Where you at? Where you at? You know, I got cash. Blah blah blah.
Yep. You can sell anything on Facebook Marketplace.
First dude that messaged me, I tried to give him first dibs, but he took forever to reply.
Yeah, you can't do that on Facebook.
Yeah, I got tired of waiting, and finally, I was there was the other guy that was like, "I'm ready to go. Just let me know." And I'm like, "Well, somebody else has first dibs. If they don't reply back, I'll let you know." Finally, after like an hour of waiting, I was like, "Man, fuck this." I was like, "Dude, let's go here, here, here." And I met up with them, and I had it sold quickly.
Now, always tell them first come, first serve. Like, who can be there the fastest, pretty much. Because when you tell them, like, oh, I got a guy who messaged me first, right? They take forever, and you don't know if they're gonna ever fucking buy it. And then you got people that are actual buyers that are just sitting there waiting. My mom sells a shit ton of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and she tries to do the same thing where she does like, oh, this guy messaged me first, but if they're not like ready to buy it within the fucking hour, she's done. Just whoever gets there first.
A guy who I was waiting on, I got tired of waiting on, messaged me like 3 days later. Was like, "You still selling it?"
Yeah, no.
3 days.
The only exception is if like they message you first and they're like on their way. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna rug that guy because he's on his way. You can get good prices on Facebook Marketplace too. Like if I tried to sell like an old video card, I could probably get a good price for it. Like you don't have to skimp yourself, you know what I mean?
I bought my video card off of OfferUp.
Yeah.
Some fucking kid was like, "Hey, meet me at the police station." Like a local police station. I pull up and it's like an 11-year-old kid on an electric bicycle, fucking hustling video cards for $2K.
Jesus. And it was brand new.
Brand new, dude. He knew someone that worked at Micro Center. I was like, all right, I'll take it.
He's smart doing it at a police station when he's that young.
Yep.
That kid's going places. That's gonna be Calvin in 10 years. Or he's gonna be Calvin. I'm still looking into the online arbitrage type stuff. I don't know if I'd do retail arbitrage because you gotta like go to the stores and fucking do all that shit. But the online arbitrage is a little more interesting. Once I have my new house with a bigger garage, put all that shit in the garage. I still gotta check on that Supreme stuff. I think I'm missing a shirt. I think they rugged me. Of course they didn't rug me on the Wheaties. They've got fucking 3 of those things. They're not worth anything.
Yeah.
Is there a good drop today? Or this week, I mean?
No, they're done with their spring summer. You
Oh,
gotta
I
wait
gotcha.
a couple months and they're gonna release their fall winter.
Gotcha. I'm probably gonna wait till like next year in the summer to sell all my shit.
Yeah, no, wait till beginning of the summer, like late spring, early summer for short sleeve tees. They'll sell instantly. I've sold Supreme stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Have you? Yeah.
Yep. It's actually better that way because then you don't have to pay any kind of fees.
Yeah. Do you charge them like the exact same price that's on the StockX?
Yep.
Nice.
Because on StockX, then you have to pay for shipping. You have to
Yep.
pay a fee. They have to pay a fee. So for them to buy it from you is cheaper. StockX has it listed, example $20, but really it's going to end up costing them $30-$35.
Yep. No, it makes sense.
Come here, Luca. Come here. Dude, I'm doing a juice drop later on in the group. Fucking people are wilding out right now.
Fiending.
Yeah. Packing them in there like pigs.
Yep. Got my deposits in on the house. I'm doing my inspection on Wednesday. All looking good so far.
Nice. Your girlfriend really excited?
Yeah, we're ready to go, man. We want to move into the new house now, but our close is not until August 31st. We were hoping because the closes are happening a lot faster right now because the market's so wild. Most of the closing is less than 30 days. Our close is 6 weeks though, so it's kind of like kind of sucks. You got a lot of Supreme stuff, Jake. Yeah, I just do it a little bit. JMA got me into a little bot that we use on our phone, and I've only got like 2 accounts. I'm not like going wild. I just do it for fun, honestly. I haven't even resold anything yet. Appreciate that, Frank. Yeah, I don't want to get too excited just yet, man. Don't look at your cards until you have them all in your hand, right? Don't count your fucking money until it's in your bank account. I won't be de-stressed until I have the keys to the fucking place, basically.
Yep.
I'll be sleeping on a fucking air mattress because I'm not buying a single thing until I have the keys.
Everyone goes through that, man. I used a love seat and a fucking cardboard box as a table for like a month
Nice.
when I first moved in.
No, we actually got lucky because the people selling the house, because it's a townhouse, the stairs are kind of narrow and it's just like a bitch to fucking get furniture up and down. They just sold all the furniture upstairs to us for cheap. So we have 2 of the guest rooms already furnished. So if we had to, we just fucking sleep on those beds.
Be right back.
Still waiting on this VWAP break on SPY. It's holding nicely here. Little snake pattern coming in. If it can break 424, it doesn't look too bad. What time is it? We got 10 minutes until close. If we can close above VWAP on the close, it's actually not looking terrible. It will technically be above the 50-day. So like I was saying, guys, if you guys are just coming in, the things that you want to watch this week, if we keep going down on these COVID fears, you want to watch all those companies that were getting pumped last year during like the lockdown and all the travel restrictions and whatnot. All those like COVID related companies that were doing well, they're doing well today. Like look at my watch list here. Etsy, Teladoc, Shopify, Pinterest, Chegg, 3M. They make the mask, right? Fiverr, Zoom's not doing too good, but it looks pretty decent. DoorDash doing very well. So it's kind of obvious that this pullback is COVID related because all the companies that were pumping last year during COVID are doing very well today. So not a good sign for the overall market, but a good sign for those companies. Let's see if ES can break this VWAP here. It's almost there. Very close. There you go. It's breaking VWAP.
Nuke it.
5 minutes left. What's funny is you didn't get a single penny of gap fill today. You gapped down, tried to go for a gap fill, couldn't make a new high, and just nuked. Not a single penny of that gap has been filled to 432. If you guys are looking for lottos and like looking for, you think this is the bottom and it's going to bounce, that's what you're targeting. It's the obvious target. You just target the gap fill. It's that simple. You don't have to think about it. If you don't think it's going to bottom, then you're looking for the gap fill to the downside, which is all the way down to 400. There's also a gap around 411 that hasn't been filled. It's actually a double gap. Hey, my nephew's rocking the Oasis Trading Group shirt. The shirts are not bad, man. I got a few of them. The halted shirts I wear all the time. That's a good chart that Pluto just posted. What's he looking at? He's looking at the 618 of this most local move. Oh yeah, that's a clean chart. I like that. So there's a lot of support on that level. 618, 50-day, trend, VWAP, previous highs. It really needs to hold that level. The number one volume today on the entire stock market is short Qs. That's not a good sign, typically. The SQs, which is short NASDAQ, 130 million shares traded today. Is SPY going down more? It's hard to say, man. You gotta wait for tomorrow, see if we have confirmation of this trend break or not. As of right now, you would say no, because it's holding support. Gotta see how it holds the support tomorrow. Very good close. 3 minutes left on the day. This is exactly what you wanted to see if you guys were taking those lottos. Very good close. Forgot to press my buttons today. You guys like the stream, make sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I stream 5 days a week, 2 times a day, 9:30 in the morning to 3 p.m. Eastern for the scanner stream, and then 3 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern for the analysis stream. If you guys are new to trading, make sure to check out the How to Trade playlist. There's about 20 videos on there where I go over a bunch of different techniques for trading. That's in my playlist section on YouTube. If you guys are watching on Twitch, head over to YouTube and you can check the playlist section that's in there. Appreciate that, Tim. Got 1 minute left. So far, so good. Beautiful close. The big question is it a fake out, though? So every other time that we've tested the 50-day, it has not been a fake out. They've bounced an all-time high within a week or two. You got to ask yourself if this time is different or not. What it could do, worst case scenario, is bounce off the 50, fill the local gap, and then become a dead cat bounce and then go down to kind of correct towards that 400 gap. That would be brutal. Because if you see this bounce here, people are going to think it's just like every other time, and they're going to go for all-time high play, and they're going to get buried on that. So I'd be very careful for the next week or so. I am mostly all cash, so if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm mostly all cash. I still have my shipping companies that I'm building into my long-term portfolio. That's pretty much it. I've got a dollar position as well. The dollar's been doing pretty good. That's pretty much it.
Thoughts on Qs is nice.
Yeah, strong close on Qs and SPY, looking really good. We're going to have to see how it opens tomorrow. But all right, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, for our next analysis stream. If you guys are in Discord, I'm going to post some new charts for our analysis tonight. Most of it is going to be the companies that we talked about already, the COVID companies. So be on the lookout for that. I'll give you guys some key levels on those, some levels to watch. That'll probably be around 9 or 10 o'clock in Discord. So check that out. If you guys are interested in joining the Discord, check out our website, oasistrading.io. There is a 50% coupon going on right now for your first month. Use OTG50 if you guys are interested in checking out the Discord. That works for the $30 tier and the higher tiers as well. All right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good night. Peace out.